For the second etude, I would like to note straight away that you start on piano, and it starts at 155, which is faster than what the last etude started on. So making sure that you're feeling that with the metronome. And I would like to note that on this etude, there's a lot of chords that you may not play regularly. So I would suggest, again, finding whatever is most comfortable for you, whatever is most comfortable for transitioning. And for me, I like figuring out the voicings based off what's going to be easiest for me to transition from the previous chord and then from the next chord. So just making sure that you're finding the correct voicings and that it still is the correct chord, although it may be a different fingering, you know? So I would like to note that on measures 6 and 10, there's a rasgueo on the first and third beats. Just making sure that you're giving those their full value and you're actually doing a rasgueo there. And then at measures 13 and 17, there's 30-second notes. Making sure you're playing those 30-second notes in time. That's going to be challenging, but it'll work itself out if you just start slow with the metronome and work your way up. And then that next measure, measure 14, there's dotted rhythms. Making sure you're giving those full values, you're not cutting them short. And then at 16, it goes back to piano. And then all the way till measure 24, where it jumps back to forte at that fourth beat. The second page has a lot of tempo fluctuations. It goes from 135 all the way to 165 and then back down and retardando all the way to 100. So the best way I would suggest to practice this is to practice each of those areas in their respective time. Once you get comfortable with how those tempos feel, you can stitch them all together and it should blend nicely. So I would practice measures 27 and 28 at 135 and then respectively so. I would like to note that at measure 30, there's a rhythm that you don't strum. It's just a tap with the thumb on the side of the bridge. So just making sure that you're reaching there in time and transitioning properly, because if you're not going to hit your pick on the side of the bridge, it's going to be your thumb. So making sure that you're holding your pick properly, and when you're transitioning back here, that you find a nice transition point to move your pick out of your thumb and back into your thumb for the next measure when you're doing those stops. Then at measure 32, following it, that D7 is going to accelerate into 165 on that next measure. Just making sure that you're starting off at piano and you are crescendoing and accelerating at the same time. Making sure that you're playing it both as a crescendo and acelerando into the next measure. Then that rest of that phrase up until measures 38 and 39 are going to be at 165, so making sure that you're playing those fully. And at measures 36, I would like to note that there's that dotted rhythm again from that first page on measure 14, but on measures 36, it's going to be a roll instead of straight dotted eighths, so making sure that you're playing those rolls fully and giving them their full value while still doing a roll on each of the chords and making sure that each chord is given their full value. That last line, it goes from 165 to 100, so making sure that you know what 100 feels like when you're coming down from 165, so that way you don't rush through the ending. That second to last measure has 5 chords in the span of 3 beats, so for that, I would suggest practicing transitioning from each of the chords slow and then obviously gradually getting faster and faster. For this section, transitioning is going to be huge and important. So making sure you're really knowing your chords and once those chords are solid, you can then transition from either or. I would start with just G to B minor to C, C to C diminished, and then C diminished to D. And then as you're getting more and more comfortable, I would do them in sections. So I would go G, B minor, C, C, C sharp diminished, 7, D7. And then eventually you'll be able to do the entire measure with ease. So that's about what I would suggest for learning these etudes. Again, I'm going to emphasize practice with a metronome is going to be the best help you can ever get, especially when these tempos are specifically marked. So I would suggest really practicing with the metronome, taking things slow, learning all your chords properly, making sure to find what voicings are easiest for you to transition from. Yeah, these etudes were really fun to learn, and I hope the best for all of y'all learning these etudes, and I hope that y'all have the same amount of fun learning these etudes and perfecting them. And good luck on y'all's auditions.